Hi, I'm Gensec from TDS Engineering Solutions. You have seen a lot of videos on E3D. Hope you like them. I thought it's time to show ourselves as well. Our goal is to improve engineering quality and efficiency, and we believe giving you the knowledge contribute to our goal. I have been involved with Aviva PDMS and their engineering and design solution for the last 30 years. So E3D knowledge is something that we can share with you. We have various videos about how to do things in E3D. At the same time, we have videos on PML that we have created in our usage of the software as support for our customers. And some of the general code we even share with you. I am starting a new series on sharing our experience. First of this series, I create a macro from scratch with explanation on how I derive the solution. Hope you find it useful and we would like to hear your comments. Please encourage us by subscribing or liking our videos. Your love is greatly appreciated. So let's start. Welcome to our first PML tutorial. One of the new features of E3D 2.1 is the ability to import 2D drawing or DXF. When the 2D are imported, they are converted to elements like Aidlines, etc. In a typical scenario, we may like to convert 2D lines from structural drawings to Gensec element. In this macro, we will select the 8 lines, and when we run the macro, it will automatically convert them to Gensec. As you can see, it takes the profile that is selected and also the justification line. So let me go through how I created this simple macro. Let's start our macro. We start by putting in a symlink command so that this allows me to run the macro using some shortcut. First, we would like to get a list of all the 8 lines from the selection. And in order to use this, we use an object called selection. First, we are going to assign the selection object to a variable. A variable in PML requires it to be started with an exclamation mark. After this assignment to the selected variable, the object is still empty. So the first thing that we need to get is to use the method in the selection object, that is the getCurrent method. This will get the current object that is being selected by the users. Next, we will assign the content of the selection object to the 8 lines. So to do this, we create a new variable called 8 lines, and we use the method say getSelection. Perhaps it's a good time to test whether we managed to get all the 8 lines from the selection object. Let's run our little macro and check that we got the correct selection object. We use $M to run the macro. We have not selected anything, and the result is an unset or empty array. Let's select 2 of the 8 lines and run the macro again. This time I'm using the shortcut synonym. There you see the 2db reference has been selected. Now that we know the first part of the code works, let's continue our scripting. First, I'm going to use the ~line to comment out the Q variable 8 lines. For the next part of the code, I'm going to use the Grover variable to actually access the profile and justification selected from the user interface. This global variable is called Steelwork Section Settings. First, I assign the list of profiles into a variable P. So we first get the display list of profile in the user interface. The next piece of information I'm going to get from the user interface is the selected profile. And this time, we will select the display profile index, which will give the number that is selected. To get the selected profile, we will have to put the index into the array of display profiles. To access the index, we put them into square brackets. We get the selected justification again using the global variable Steelwork Section Settings. Now let's check whether the selected information that we want is correct. Again, we use the Q variable to actually get these two pieces of information. I made a mistake there. It should be variable and not E variable, which is environment variable. Let's run our script. Let's change the profile and run our script again. You can see that as we change the profile and the justification, when we do the script again, we are picking up the correct profile and justification. Next, let's create a framework element for our Gensec that we are going to create. I'm using the command line so that we can go much faster. Then we will store this storage space into a global variable called store, which will then be used to go to the framework element to create our Gensec. Now let's get back to our script. I'm going to first comment out the 2Q var statements. We'll start by creating a do loop. A do loop will then go through all the 8 lines that we have selected and then extract information and create the Gensec. Now we will go to all the 8 line elements in our selection. We made the Aidline the current element, and we will extract the pause start and pause end attribute from the Aidline element. We store them in POSS and POSE variable. Next, we will go to the framework element that we want to store the Gensec. We have stored this element in the store Grover variable. Next, we'll create the Gensec element. We will assign the SPREF, next, we will assign the justification. Next, we'll create the spine element and the point elements to define the section start and end. We use the pause start and the pause end from the Aidline for the section start and end. We end the loop with a do end. Let's check our macro. Now let's select two of the AI lines and let's set the justification and the section profile. Now run our little macro and you can see that the two sections are created. Let's change the justification and profile and convert more Aidlines to Gensec. There you have it. I hope you enjoyed this little macro and this will help you in creating macro that will be useful in your work. See you again next time. Bye.